Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Welcome to all the guests. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom.
What's your name?
David Weintraub.
From?
Park, Michigan.
Michigan. Oak Park, Michigan. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Shloime. Grossness. What? The kind of Grossness. Grossness. There's a bunch of grossnesses in the shir. From where are you from?
Manchester.
Manchester. Who are you here with?
Uncle.
How many uncles? 4 uncles. But they're all fighting over you. Who's gonna take you? So you're related to him? Uncle. What's your name?
Adler. Chili Adler.
Chili Adler. Shalom Aleichem. Who else is here? Who are the uncles? You're also uncle?
Zevi Adler.
Zevi, Shalom Aleichem. Venach, what's Vitzal's uncle? Where's the 4th? All over. So who does the daf? Who doesn't? Stop, you came like, you do the daf, you do the daf. You, Be'emet. And you too? When did you start? Woman, you did Megillah, you fell out by your vomits, that's half the shir, by the way. You're no different than the adults. But there's another half that came during your vomits. They're like, yeah, and then what happened? Then you're off the bandwagon until Makkos? It's a pretty good guess. It's not bad. Okay, so now we're back on. Givaldi, who else do we have? What's your name?
Shimborsky.
Shimborsky? Where are you from? Gimel. Gimel Aleph or Gimel Beis? Or Gimel? Is there a Gimel yet? Yesterday somebody said he's from Gimel Tzvi. Oh. Shalom Aleichem, what's your name?
Dan Donovan from Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore, Maryland. I don't know, last night we had, close to 20 guests. And today it's like we have a minion here. Boys, if you're a guest, raise your hand.
Yeah, we have.
Wow. Leah and Hara. Okay. Who else? Who am I missing? Okay. Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Oh, Hayoim, Arbas or Yoim, Sheheim, Shnei Shavuos, Ba'omer or La'omer. This is the new calendar that's coming out. I forgot the name of the guy that's behind it. Oivei. Sponsorships are available. It's like a $7,000 thing. So if the Oilam wants, there's a big, people are very excited about the Makkos calendar, so they decided to do it for Shavuos as well. Isaac Lichtenstein from Kiryas Yoel. I'm going to put the email on so you can read with me. I'm writing with Moshe Kodes Atoiv, listening to Yeshiidim, Sheerium from Sanhedrin Daf 42, the moon blessing. The deepest musar, what I took out from this shir is that occasional wet eyes from the Magid shirs to feel together with the family members. This is a Hasidic shir from Kiryas Yoel writing. It's like me trying to write in Yiddish. You understand? I'm not making fun. It's difficult. Like a big holy family of MDY, lo mishaneh. Oh, that's what he's saying. I mamish now chav. Lo mishaneh. MCSHANE, Mishaneh. The clothing, hat, etc. What matters is the Jewish heart that gets inspired together with Torah. The feeling and the pain is the success of MDY family. HaKadosh Baruch should bring Mashiach together. We will all go with tears of joy. Not missing a daf from Sanhedrin, daf 90. Thanks for changing my life. Zukt Isaac Lichtenstein from Kiryas Yoel. I hope he's on the Kiryas Yoel group. I got all these together in one shot. It's unbelievable. This is just a bunch of 10-year-old, 11-year-olds doing the daf, learning the daf of the rebellion on Friday. Yisroel age 10 and Benny age 9 from Yehudis Eisman. Shlomo Lakin, 10-year-old from Pomona. Upon finishing the entire Masechet Sanhedrin, I used to forget to do stuff because I was so good about doing the daf. I'm more responsible now. Says a 10-year-old from Pomona. Again, I used to forget to do stuff, but because I was so good about doing the daf, I'm more responsible now. That's for adults also. It brings a lot of consistency to life. Aaron Ringel, my 11-year-old son Noach hooked. Aaron Ringel Lakewood from Yuma, the first Masechta with the Gemara giveaway. Hope still eligible for the cruise. Following the trend of 11-year-olds doing the daf no matter when, my son Noach even stayed up till 12 a.m. a couple of nights to complete the daf for officials contest. Happens to be that he's learning yeshiva Makkos and is now in sync with the daf. The Rebbe was telling my son that I see you're learning in the art scroll based on the wording of the taich of the words. The Rebbe chapped that he's using these fancy English words that require art school to explain the English. The Menukah art school is getting in places in yeshiva. My son is getting so addicted and always looks forward to sponsor chavrisa Shmueli Unger at least one video in every daf. Now that he's hooked on the daf, he'll be Be'ez Hashem joining the next Masechta and many more in Mirz Hashem. That's the idea, to get them hooked when they're young. This is Oivei, I forgot his name over here. But I like this guy, he's sitting in business class, Rabbi Isai, but he's steiging away. Check it out. Forgot his name. I'm jealous because on the way here, the way there, we got a shtickle business, but on the way back was Mom sitting with the peasants. It's Noirvayim.
It's terrible.
But okay, whatever. I'm not gonna go. This guy is Mario. The guy, also a young kid. I don't know how old, and maybe the editor will put his name in. I forgot to put the name in. Sorry. And one last young kid. I'm not the only one who falls asleep doing the daf. 3-day-old Daniela. It's just like us. Thank you for all you do. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Avi Berger, Waterbury, Connecticut. Mazel tov. Okay, let's learn some Torah. But before we do that, we have to do a few short sponsors. Masechta sponsored by anonymous Hatzlacha Bruchnius Yisroel Cherns and my chavrisa Shmueli Unger. So somehow related to that email, I missed something over there. Huh? Oh, the Olam Flatbush. So Rabbi Isai here, I have a shayla for you guys in Flatbush. We have 7 places going strong here in Eretz Yisrael. We saw a few pictures of Givatayim. Oh, Givat Zev. So what are you saying? Givatayim, Givat Zev. The pictures were from Givat Zev. Like 20 people per day. And that's every day. So the shayla is, how do we do it in America? A get together in a place, like we take a place like Lakewood or Beis Meirish and just show the shir Shalom Aleichem Rabbi Sucha every day. Huh?
It doesn't have to be live.
No, it doesn't have to be live. That's the idea. It doesn't have to be live. They were doing it in Eretz Yisrael in certain places, not live. It's the get together. It's the chabura. It's the Olam gets together and they have it's a matzav. Szlafrok Family, memory of it. You see, that's why people like that. Peretz Chaim, you're going to be the first one to open it for us. Szlafrok Family, in memory of their uncle Simmy Schaer, Simcha Yisrael, Naftali Tzvi A. Anonymous, may our learning bring us closer to one another and to Hashem. No, I said yesterday in the Hebrew shit that the problem is the time. Afal PK, we could still do something.
Givatayim is every morning.
Givatayim, you hear this? Givatayim is every morning. Every morning. It does not in sync with the Shir live. Hebrew in the morning. That's how they do it. They get together. It's part of the minyan over there. Shalom Aleichem. What? Avrem is on. Yeah, because I spoke about Avrem in the Hebrew shir, so he writes a text to me. He goes, yeah, don't worry, I saw the shir today. Leah nishma zechariah b'moish nishma zechariah v'asyoyis v'hatzlacha B'Parnasa. I said I was just worried to talk about you because then you're going to go into our computers and mess it all up for us. It's the world's greatest hacker. Yoni Klestzick, Refuah Shelamah, Yehudit Brayna Basipoy Rivka, Parnasa Birevach for Baruch Tzvi Nissim ben Shoshana. He's the one that did this. I owe him a Makkos Toiv. Because of him, I could control which chart is seen and how and when. It used to be I had to beg Gary up there. Could you please do this chart? And if the daf could do the wrong one, and I would have to. Just Gourmet, Los Angeles. Mo Miriam Landy for that Hatzlacha of all our children. It's a combined marriage. Hatzlacha for all the children. The Kollel for the month. Thank you to Rebelli's wife. Oh, today is a 2,000 daf test. 2,000 daf that the chavrisa Kollel are doing today.
Are you taking it?
I'm going to take a 1 daf test. That's the most I could do. Bemis, you asked me something from 10 days ago, I get a 0 on the test. So for me I can't comprehend something like that. Just it's not in my dictionary to do 2,000 daf. You have a good memory, but 2,000 daf, and not just simple dirshu questions. These are questions that are the hardest. When I used to do it and go over and over, and I never got higher than a 95 on a test on a 30, and they're doing 2,000 daf. And these guys get 99s, 100s. Thank you to Rebelli's wife and kids for the great sacrifice they made allow him. I spoke to David Hofstetter about it. Like, why do you have to trip up my guys? Why do you have to always, why can't you give me 100, please? He smiled. They make allowance to spread Torah to the masses. Shkoyach. And, daily sponsors. Refuah Shelamah for Hadassah Bas Nicole. May we hear good news. Amen. And Lili Nishmas Etel Malko Bas Avro Moshe. And I want to say, Eitan Weinberg, Lilu Nishmas Rav Elio ben Rav Avrom, our father's third yahrzeit. So this is, whoever remembers, I was in Birevach, I gave a shir in Flatbush. And here's the picture. This is the last picture of this person. Mishpacha sent it to me, he said, this is the last picture of the father. And Hill Boyer, what, who's that? Your great uncle. Wow, today's his yahrzeit. Hill Boyer is in the picture on the left, and he also wanted to sponsor, but it came in too late. He was very, very moved by this. He was only in his 50s. All of a sudden, he's here 1 minute. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. You're here, you're smiling, everything looks great, and all of a sudden, boop, not here the next minute. MDY Kids Monthly Innovations, Chus Official, Elchanan, Akiva, Rivki, and Mrs. Stefansky. Art of the Month, Refuah Shelamah for Yehonatan, Eitan ben Basheva Bracha, who was here last night. He came, was a big chizik for us. For Schus for rebelling, the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so enjoyable for so many, in honor of Yosef Klein and Mark Ashkenazi for all the work they do. Boys, here we go. We're holding on the bottom of Daf Yudches Amud Beis. Chai. I have a riddle, and this is like they said in one of the. It took me a week to chop the joke in the video, the 3D animation. In the middle of the shir, as I was saying, like, wait a minute. Oh, that's what they meant. They said in the video, the guy says, "I'm asking you a question, but you can only answer if you don't know the answer."
What?
And basically, it's based on what I say in the shir. If you know the answer, you're not allowed to answer. Okay, you should just try to answer. Here's the riddle. How's it possible? Okay, we're talking about Meiser Sheni today. Meiser Sheni is after you take Truma and Meiser, you have to take another 10% and give it to yourself. You bring it to Yerushalayim and eat it in Yerushalayim. You're not allowed to eat it before you get to Yerushalayim. If you eat it before you get to Yerushalayim, we'll see exactly how, but if you eat it before you get to Yerushalayim, you'll over the Issa, you can get Makkos. How is it possible that a person brings his Meiser Sheni into Yerushalayim, he eats it in Yerushalayim, and he gets Makkos? And then, if he eats it outside of Yerushalayim, he doesn't get Makkos. If you don't know the answer, if you have to not know it. Oh, you don't know it, Ari?
No, if I know.
Okay. Tomei. Now they're faking that they don't know. That's the whole chaper. I don't know, but Tomei. Yeah, okay. That wasn't such a hard one. So when we're talking about Bikurim is the first fruit. You bring it up to the Beis HaMikdash, and the kohen gets to eat it. You don't get to eat it. There are 3 situations that you could get Malkus for eating Bikurim. Anybody want to go for it? Three things that you could get. Huh? Ari, you don't know, so you're allowed to answer. Before Hanacha. Very good. So here, Bikurim outside of Yerushalayim, you get Malkus. Before Hanacha or Kriya. And what's the last one? Zar. This is very good. Zar. That's what we're talking about now. At what point is this considered, when you pick it off the tree, it's not Bikurim yet. So at what point is the Bikurim also to eat for the Zar, says Rashi. Other Rishonim learn different, but okay, we go according to Rashi, Zar. Once they go into the Beis HaMikdash, that's it. Now, if the Yisroel starts munching on one of the pomegranates, he gets Malkus. Kiman, Kaitana the Sanya Rebbe Zoimer, it goes like this Tana, Bikurim Miktsasam Bachutz Miktsasam Bifnim. If you have a large tray of fruit, some of it is inside the Beis HaMikdash, inside the Azar, some of it is out. We're going to have some pictures later on, similar things to this. Anything that's outside of the Beis HaMikdash, even though it's one long tray, but all the fruit that's outside is like chulin, and you could eat from it. You're not over anything. Once it goes inside the Beis HaMikdash, it has the halacha of hegdish, and the Yisrael is not allowed to eat it. The kohen has to wait, of course, until you do the hanacha, and then you could eat it. But if the Yisrael eats it before it goes into the Beis HaMikdash, it's not a problem. So it's interesting that the Gemara repeats what we said yesterday. It's a machlokes, and as if we never discussed this before. It says Rav Sheshes, Bikurim Hanacha Makeves Behem. What's Hanacha? I'll remind you the picture that we had. Here's Hanacha. The Kohen and the Yisrael. Remember, we said the Kohen and the Yisrael. We had 2 psukim, so the Gemara says, how could they both do a tnufa? So it says the Kohen is going to hold underneath, not so much like this picture, and the Yisrael is going to grab the rim. But they're both going to hold. And then they put it down by the Mizbeach. At this point, the Yisrael is allowed to go all the way to the Mizbeach because it's a tzorech for the mitzvah. you have to put it down. Before you put it, if you don't put it down, then you're not mekayim the mitzvah. You have to put it down. The hanacha is ma'akev. Why? Because we saw the pasuk. It says in the pasuk, what? Yeah. Where is it? If I have it here. No, I forgot to put it in here. Okay, because it says hanacha twice. And if it says the word twice, it says the same thing twice, it's a ma'akev when it comes to kachim. Anything the Beis Hamikdash says twice, that's it. You have to do it. Kriya, to say the psukim, Arami, Oivedavi, all the psukim that you say together with the bikurim, ain't ma'akev b'hem. If you don't say the psukim, and then we had yesterday, you have to be roy lebila, you have to be able to say the psukim, and you don't say it. But if you can't say the psukim because it's the wrong time of the year, then it is ma'akev. Okay. Kiman, according to who does it go? Ki aitana, we ignore all the tanaim that we said yesterday. It goes like this tana. He said 3 things in the name of 3 elders. I would think that you could go up Bizman Hazeh and bring Meiser Sheni. You have a bunch of fruit, you want to take 10% and then be mekayim the mitzvah of Meiser Sheni in Yerushalayim. Unbelievable, huh? They used to have all these mitzvahs and they do. One thing that that could possibly be done today. One thing that can be done Bizman Hazeh. Huh? Who said that? Carbon Pesach, says David Hafaz. It's true. One thing that it's a big shiloh why we don't do a carbon Pesach, because Tum is not an issue with the carbon Pesach. So why don't we do a carbon Pesach today? So there's a lot of different reasons. They say it's a big sakana maybe because of the Arabs, or we don't know where the mizbeach and different. Also the big day kuhuna is a shiloh. Do we have a real kohen miyuchas? I'm not talking about Rabbi Schoenberg, but all the other kohanim are going to say I'm a miyuchas. The kids are so. But that's a possibility. But here's another one.
Yeah.
He himself told me he's not sure. Anyway, yeah.
Or from the neighbor.
Exactly. Oh, he's holding cup. He's holding cup. Rappaport from Birevach. Those who know. Those who don't know. Anybody? Who knows what he said? Who knows? Refuah, what did he say? Just give a rem as to what he's saying. The pidyon haben. Oh, it's interesting. I just saw that Rabbi Cook did a pidyon haben for 2, like a 35-year-old, and then he says, but what about? And it turns out that his father also didn't do a pidyon haben. 2 b'charim, so he did a father and a son, like a 65-year-old and a 35-year-old. Just yesterday, where was it on the Yeshiva World News or something? Okay, so there is such a thing as somebody doing a pidyon haben at an advanced age of 13 by the Rappaports in Birevach. Vidinu, weiter. We didn't have that stempel in a long time. Vidinu b'char tonavos makoim. Oh, so very simple. So first of all, the Gemara says perhaps you should bring Meiser Sheni today, all the way up to Yerushalayim. Today, what we do is there's no Meiser Sheni today, but we have to be careful. So what they do is they pour a bunch of, let's say if you have a lot of fruit. So you pour, like today, in this week's parasha, you pour a lot of water in it. It's called hechsher tuma, and then you touch it. We're all tamei mace. Touch it, and then it becomes tamei. That's it. And then once it becomes tamei, you can redeem it for pennies. You don't have to pay the full value. So there's I forgot his name, a big rav who messed up. Basically, it could be if you're doing like hafrashas trumas for a large company, it could be $1 million worth of. Let's call it $20,000 worth of Meiser Sheni. He takes it. He took it into the old city, but he forgot to be machshir l'kabel tuma, so it wasn't tamei. So he came to Shmuel Salant and he said, "What do I do now? I ruined it. Now I have to redeem it for real, for the full price." So Shmuel Salant said that since you're a shliach of the hechsher, and you did the wrong thing, you were supposed to do it a certain way, you didn't do it, so the whole thing is batal. Doesn't count. But that's how they do. We spoke about it with the zoo. The biblical zoo is owned by a kohen. He has a partnership, like anybody that owns real estate has to get a partnership with a guy for whatever, or businesses that are open on Shabbos, whatever it is. You have to have a partnership with a guy. So they have a partnership, like they have a token kohen, and because he's the owner, so that you can feed his animals the trumas and meisers that the different echsherim demafresh. Okay, so V'dinu. So the Gemara says no. Bechar ton avos malka, ma'aser sheni ton avos malka. No, it's not going to work. This ma'aser sheni b'zman hazeh. Why? Because let's learn it from a bechar. Bechar, the firstborn animal, you have to give to the kohen. But you need avos malka. You have to bring to the Beis Hamikdash. Ma'aser sheni ton avos malka. Ma'aser sheni also you have to bring to Yerushalayim. So ma bechar ein oel b'fnei habayis. Just like bechar, you need the Beis Hamikdash to exist. Have ma'aser ein oel b'fnei habayis. So ma'aser also you need the Beis Hamikdash. Says Gemara, no. Why are you learning something from Bechar? My Bechar, she can tone, Matan Dom Veimurim Legabim Mizbeach. I found this. We have this. This is a Murim, if anyone wants to see. The Yisroel Cherns, it's brought in the Psukim now, one after another. Be'ezer Hashem, have big plans to redo that. We did the whole Shechita. When you do a whole Shechita, Rav David's going to take it out and show the Yisroel Cherns and the Chelav Mechases HaKerev, the whole thing. It's going to be unbelievable. These parts you take. That the kohen doesn't get. You take and you put it on the mizbeach. She says, "Oh, bechar is very chamor. She can tell matan damim. You have to pour the blood on the mizbeach. Veimurim legabi mizbeach." Says Gemara. Oh, so now we're going to introduce a third thing. We're saying we should learn ma'aser sheni from a bechar. And just like a bechar, you need a Beis Hamikdash. So to ma'aser sheni, you need a Beis Hamikdash. Today we don't have a Beis Hamikdash. No ma'aser sheni. He says no, but it's different than a bechar. Bechar has a murim and everything. Okay, but bikurim yichichu. Bikurim, there's no blood in fruit, and there's no imurim yet. You need the Beis Hamikdash. Mali bikurim shekein tuunim hanocha. There's something special about bikurim. You have to put it down by the mizbeach. Oh, so this is the nekuda that the Gemara wants to bring out here. It's hidden here for a second. Don't forget what we're talking about. We're trying to see what's ma'akev, what is very important for the bikurim. Is it the hanacha? Is it putting it down by the mizbeach, or is it reading the psukim? What does the Gemara say over here? There's something special about bikurim. Shekin tu unim hanacha. There's no mention of kriya. It should say mali bikurim. You know why bikurim is different than ma'aser sheni? Because bikurim you have to read psukim, and ma'aser sheni you don't have to read psukim. Since it's not mentioned there, l'chayr, it's not a problem if you forget the psukim. Okay, so how do I know that you don't bring ma'aser sheni b'zman hazeh? Because there's a hekesh. Now what? Here's the hekesh. Huh? Oh, okay, yeah, that's in the second. So here goes the pasuk. This is one long giant pasuk. It says in the pasuk, ma'aser degancha ma'aser ubechayros. So in one place it says both. So you can make a hekesh. You learn one halacha from the other. Just like b'chor, you need a Beis Hamikdash. Great. So that's the halacha. There is no ma'aser sheni b'zman hazeh because there's no Beis Hamikdash. V'misa living mali b'kum sheken tunim kriya v'anacha. So now the Gemara brings out the question: how come it says before that the pircha is that bikurim has hanacha and ma'aser sheni doesn't? Why doesn't it mention anything about kriya reading? Or Rav Ashi need the kuva leka. So Rav Ashi says a beautiful answer. You're right, it's not ma'akiv. But mitzvah mileka, the Torah says you should read the psukim. The Torah is saying that there's something chomer about bikurim that you have to read psukim, and you don't have that chomer by ma'aser sheni. So what if it's not ma'akiv? V'leima mitzvah v'lifrach. So because it has something special, you have to read the psukim. That is enough. That's enough to say that bikurim is different than ma'aser sheni. You can't learn ma'aser sheni from bikurim. Elo Rav Ashi. So how come it wasn't mentioned? How come I don't slug it up? I would say mali bikurim sheken tuunim hanacha vikriya. Says Gemara, tell you why. Very simple. Even they can bikuria ger. What if a guy is a ger and he brings bikurim? How is he going to say all the psukim? The boy how's a ger going to say aviseinu, my forefathers? It's not his forefathers. So Rabbi Shmuel didn't stick it in, not because it's not a good pircha, it's a very good pircha. The bikurim is different than ma'aser sheni because bikurim has anacha and bikurim has kriya. But he couldn't say it because there are cases where it doesn't apply. So he wanted to say something that applies to everybody. So let me ask you something. If a person is a ger, we might have a ger or two in the room. So he doesn't say Baruch atah Hashem, Lekeinav Lekeav Eseinu, Lekeav Avram, Lekeav Yitzchak. He doesn't have a Shmoneh Esrei, he has his own little Shmoneh Esrei. And what about Birkas Hamazon? What do you do? So the halacha is he does say it. He says Aviseinu. And the halacha is that he also says the psukim in Bikurim. Says the Gemara, and this was what Reb Noam was asking, okay, so now that we have three sources, so let's learn Here you have Bechor on top, you have Bikurim. So let's learn from the two of them our halacha of Meiser Sheni. Meiser Sheni, you can't bring Meiser Sheni Bizman Hazeh. Every question that you have, you'll say, okay, Bikurim, you say the Hanacha. Bechor doesn't have Hanacha. And whatever it is, each one has, but the bottom line is, you need the Beis HaMikdash for the two on top. So maybe you should need the Beis HaMikdash for the Meiser Sheni as well. It says, it's not so, Rabbi said, don't worry about it. I said, the Tzad HaShava, a lot of people, they hear Tzad HaShava, reminds them of 8th grade, and they start going to sleep. It's mamish easy. The top two, Bechor and Bikurim, you have to bring a Bechor on the Mizbeach, you put the Imurim on the Mizbeach. Bikurim, you have to put the Hanacha, you have to put it down next to the Mizbeach. Meiser Sheni doesn't have Mizbeach, so maybe you can't learn Meiser Sheni from those two. Fine. New topic. The Gemara says, but what does he hold? So we have a big shaila, and this is a shaila that it's important to us as well. What about the Kedusha that Eretz Yisrael has, and what about the Kedusha of the Beis HaMikdash? Two different things. There's the Kedusha of the Beis HaMikdash, Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael. Is it Kaddish Ad Yom Hazeh, to the point where you have to be mafresh Meiser Sheni, the whole Eretz Yisrael? And what about the Kedusha of the Beis HaMikdash? Do we still have that Kedusha over there today? So we have to know. The Kedusha, the original Kedusha of the Beis HaMikdash. Now we're talking about Beis HaMikdash now, not of Eretz Yisrael. We're going to take it as a hanacha that there is Kedusha in Eretz Yisrael. And that's why you have to be mafresh Meiser Sheni. But what do you do with it? When he was asking that today, maybe you should bring, not asking, he was saying, maybe you should bring Meiser Sheni to the Beis HaMikdash today. If the Beis HaMikdash is Kaddish forever, then why is he asking or talking about Meiser Sheni? He should talk about a Bechar. That what? That Bizman Hazeh, if, not so much Bizman Hazeh, let's say somebody shechted a Bechar right before the Churban Abayis, and then there was a Churban. So go to the place of the Mizbeach and make a Mizbeach and bring the Bechar over there. Why is he asking it only about Meiser Sheni? And if there's no Kedusha anymore after the Churban, so you should ask, should he bring the Bechar? Why is the question only on Meiser Sheni? Again, this is Rashi points out, and like the Gemara is going to say in a second, talking about where the Beis HaMikdash was when you shechted it, but you don't have, now you have the meat. What do you do with the meat? Do you bring it to the Beis HaMikdash or not? Says the Gemara, no, there's no Kedusha. Like in the questions, just repeating the question. We're talking about a Bechar that had a Shechita and a Zrika in the real Beis HaMikdash, Koydem Churban Abayis, before the Churban. Bechar Abayis, and then there's a Churban. V'adayim b'sari kayim, now you still have the meat. U'makshinan, what are you asking on? Why isn't it get to today?
Exactly what I was saying.
Mamish?
Mamish, I promise.
He promises. I read his mind. Okay? I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer to it. Right.
I was thinking
What?
If that would be the din in Bichum, we can imagine.
What did you do that I knew that's what you were asking?
That's weird. That's right.
It's not weird. You just have to start believing like everybody else. Okay, anyway, no. I'll tell you because I had the same shilas. I saw you making like this with your heads. I figured that's what you want to ask. It was interesting in Chicago. A bacher came over to me and asked me a question. He told me, he said, "Could I ask you a question?" I said, "I'm not good at what we learn," but he said the Gemara. So I said, "Oh, you want to ask this?" No, it was a younger man, a guy that married. So you want to ask me this? Oh, I know what it was. He asked me. It says that if there's a new Kohen Gadol, so the new Kohen Gadol, the Gemara asks, if there's a new Kohen Gadol, so why are we davening that he should die? Like, what did he do wrong? If there's the first Kohen Gadol, when he was alive, he should have davened that this shoygig shouldn't happen. But if he died and then there's a second Kohen Gadol, why is he responsible? So the Gemara answers, because he should daven that this guy should do well in the din. So he starts saying the Gemara. So I said, "Oh, so you want to ask me, how can you change the din? If he did it, he did it. Why can you daven against it?" It's like, "What? How did you know that's what I?" Says, "Bother me." So I said, "Maybe the pshat is like Rebbe Kiva." Okay. Then I go But it wasn't such a chachma because when I got to Chicago, somebody says, "Oh, could I ask you a question?" And he says the same. He starts saying the same Gemara. I said the same. So it bothered a lot of people, I guess. Okay.
It could be the answer to what the Rosh Kollel is saying, though.
The what?
So we can learn Meister Sheni. If you see that he was so clear on before and not a Meister Sheni, so it's...
No, but the Gemara is saying, I hear what you're saying, but the Gemara is saying, what is the halacha? No, the Gemara says, it should say, how come B'char, what happens with the B'char today? What do you do with the B'char? Should you eat the meat? But it's only shaykh back then.
Right.
I hear what he's saying. We want to learn from B'char, but the Gemara says it should be, you should ask it as a question. What's the halacha b'b'char, and what's the case? If there was a shechita before the Beis Hamikdash was nechrav, and then you want to eat it out, but it's not to get to today. Okay, fine. Okay, yeah, that we said. Oh, so look at this. The pasuk says, "Ach b'char," and it says in the same pasuk, not in the same pasuk. It says as damam, blood, and pasuk Yudches it says upsarim. So we have a hekesh between blood and basar, and it says what? Al mizbech. Where do you put the blood? Where's blood? What's blood? You need a mizbech. You need a Beis Hamikdash for blood. So too, when you eat a b'char, you need a Beis Hamikdash. It's a hekesh. And memela what? So it goes like this. First of all, this is a character. Stam, you should know this is a character. This is a guy eating b'char meat. Okay, so it goes like this. On the right side, we're going to learn the guy eating b'char meat from blood. That we just said. It says in the two psukim Yud Zayin Ches, blood and it. See, we learned that what you cannot eat the b'char meat outside of the base. You need a Beis Hamikdash to exist. And Mamela, once I learned that, then I'm going to learn Meiser Sheni also. I'm going to learn Meiser Sheni from a b'char. Yeah? It's very, very simple. I learn eating from blood, and once I know that you're not allowed to eat b'char unless you have a Beis Hamikdash, I also learn you can't eat Meiser Sheni unless there's a Beis Hamikdash. So how many limudim do we have here? 2. Achila from dam, and Meiser Sheni from b'char. So Gemara says that's a problem. In Kachim, it's mamish a daf of Kachim. It's almost over. We have a little bit, like half a Amud left tomorrow of Meiser Sheni, but that's it. So we're learning a little Kachim, a little taste of Zvachim, Menachos, Chulin, all the shmaka stuff. Noam told me one of his favorite. What was one of your favorite zechtas? Zvachim. It's very gishmak. So, as the Gemara, we have a yisoid in Kachim that you don't learn. If you learn one thing, you learn achila from dam. Okay, you stop there. You can't continue learning things out of it. Says Gemara, answer my sedagan chulanu. Oh, check this out. Where do we have this yisoid? In Kachim. You can't learn one thing in Kachim, then learn a second thing out of it in Kachim. But if the second thing I'm trying to learn out of it is chulin, Meiser Sheni is considered chulin. You and I we could all eat Meiser Sheni in Yerushalayim. So it's chulin. I can learn it out from b'char. Oh, Daf Yomi Beis. I'll stop over here for a second, because otherwise people are going to start screaming, turning the Daf. Adar Global, one-stop shop for all your financial needs. Innovations will see in honor of our sons. Another 12-year-old, 9-year-old, Kalmo Yisroel for learning Sanhedrin Makkos with Rebelli. In honor of Adar Global and Innovations, true role models of how to support the Daf and learning. So let's go back over here. So Chulin. Says Gemara, check this out. Very, very simple. You see the guy on top? He's learning. He's a learner. He's a Talmud. Okay, he's about to get a Zetz for spacing out. So if that's good, if all we care about is the one that's being learned. The one that's being learned is chulin, great. But what if it has to do with the one teaching? The one teaching in this case is b'char, which is kachim, and kachim you can't learn 2 things out of kachim. So it's machlokes. Which one is the more important one? What's the one that you're learning? At the end of the day, you're trying to learn Meiser Sheni. Meiser Sheni is chulin, and we go by the one that's being learned. Great, it's chulin. But if we care about the teacher, the one that's teaching, what's teaching? B'char. And b'char is kachim, you can't teach twice. Michael and Meimar. Answers the Gemara, Damu Basar Chodam Milsihi. On the bottom, how does the whole thing start? That I'm learning achila from dam. He says, no. Achil and dam is one thing. It's bechar. The Torah is not teaching. It's not a limud. It's just explaining that it's within the same category. Anything that's within bechar, you need a Beis Hamikdash. It expands the blood. Blood is not just blood. Blood is everything that has to do with this carbon has to be within inside the Beis Hamikdash. Next sugya, kachi kachim. So kachi kachim is really referring to the next word in the Mishnah, in our Mishnah, which is Ma'aser Sheni. You get Malkus for eating Ma'aser Sheni outside of Yerushalayim. As the Gemara, Tanina Chada Zimna, Ma'aser Sheni Behegdish Shaloi Nivdu. Where do we learn it? The first Mishnah of this parak. Take a look. I just wanted to show that it's in that big long Mishnah, and it's in there. It says, "U'Ma'aser Sheni Behegdish Shaloi Nivdu." If you didn't redeem the Ma'aser Sheni, you ate it where? Outside of Yerushalayim. You get Malkus. So then why does our Mishnah repeat it again? It's just 4 or 5 daf ago. We had it before. So for that, the Gemara says, very simple. It's 2 cases. There's a case of eating it b'tahara when you tar, and a case of eating it b'tumah. So our Mishnah is talking about, and there's 2 things that can become tar and tameh, or are tar and tameh. The person eating it and the fruit. So our Mishnah is talking about b'maiser sheni tar, the pomegranates, the grapes are tar, the gaver tar, and also in case where the person is tar. And where is he eating it? He's eating it outside of Yerushalayim. So for that you get Malkus. Reisha, but the first Mishnah, this Mishnah that we see over here, the beginning of Eilu Aloikin, is talking about b'maiser sheni tameh. Either or, yeah? The Ma'aser Sheni, the grapes are tameh. If the grapes are tameh and they're Ma'aser Sheni, it's also for you to eat it. And therefore you get Malkus because you ate Ma'aser Sheni that's tameh. Where did you eat it? Inside Yerushalayim. That's the riddle. How do you get Malkus for eating Ma'aser Sheni inside Yerushalayim in a situation that you're not allowed to eat it? You're not allowed to eat Ma'aser Sheni grapes or fruit inside Yerushalayim. So what do you do if you have Ma'aser Sheni fruit? You trying to do the right thing. You schlepped all these grapes up to Yerushalayim. You get into Yerushalayim and then you go. You heard there's a funeral and you go and you participate in the levaya. Now you're tameh. The fruit is tameh. What do you do now? Very pashut. You have to redeem it. You take the fruit and you convert it to money. Now somebody else could eat the fruit that's tameh. It's tameh, but it's not kadosh. It loses its Ma'aser Sheni kedusha. The kedusha goes into what? Into the money, and with the money you buy other fruit. Says the Gemara, how do you know the chayav for tumah? It's interesting because I heard, I don't know where it's holding and what the plan, that they once had a plan, maybe it's still there, to make a cable car to go to the Kollel. Remember there's such a thing? Still there. So part of the issue was that you're going to go above the Kfarim and Har Zaysim or something, and the Koyahanim, how are they going to do it? So they said they'll build right under the cable car, they'll build like these little roofs above Kfarim and it'll prevent the Tumah. But then this other group, Karayim or something, I don't know what, they came and said, no, we don't want these roofs. We don't allow roofs above Kfarim. So now it's like a stalemate kind of, whatever. Okay. Cable car to the Kollel. Yeah, so the Sanya Reb Shimon Omer. Oh, so how do you know that if the Ma'aser Sheni is tameh, you're not allowed to eat it in Yerushalayim? Right? Other stuff that's tameh, all different kachim that you're not allowed to eat. But Ma'aser Sheni, how do I know Ma'aser Sheni? Ma'aser Sheni is a little bit lighter, you know. Yisrael eat it. So how do you know that if it's tameh, you're not allowed to eat it? Sanya. Reb Shimon Omer lo bi'arti mimenu betameh. The word bi'arti over here, what does bi'arti mean? I didn't eat it. I didn't eat this Ma'aser Sheni, this part of the Vili, they say. Yeah, in years 4 and 7 of Shemitah, yeah, what?
3 and 6.
No, 4 and 7. 3 and 6 is Ma'aser Ani. 4 and 7 is when you do the Vidui. You have to get rid of all your Trums and Ma'aserus, including Ma'aser Sheni. Get rid of Ma'aser Sheni, you give this Vidui, you say, I didn't eat it when I was Tameh. So it says, first in the Pasuk, it says, Ben shani tamei v'utar, ben shani tar v'utamei. So l'chayr, you can learn from here that whether the fruit is tamei, whether I'm tamei. Ve'echan muzar al achila eni yedeh. Okay, so this tells you that you're not allowed to eat when you're tamei. But where do you get the hazara? Where's the warning? That I don't know. So it's very important to see this. There's a Rashi here. Let's start from the top. It says, "B'maisid d'chsiv kim rochatz horachatz tahor the tova v'olo oichel b'maiser." And then it says in parentheses, "Rabbeinu gufay tahor v'yotza neshmase b'tahara lepirish yoiser mekamelach loshen talmidoi Rabbi Yehuda bar Nosan." So it says over here that Rashi was nifter right over here. His body was tar. His neshama went out b'tahara, and from here on it's the rivan. So they explain, why does it say tar over here? Because right before Rashi says, rochatz tar. The last words Rashi wrote was tar. So it says, gufay tar, v'yotza neshmos v'tar. So they asked, but when we learned about Basra, Daf Chof Ches, I think it was, you're right in the beginning of Cheskas. It says, kan, I think over there, the Rashi got sick. But the Seder Dar says that he was learning two Masechtas at the same time. You had the Yun Seder and the Bekiya Seder and whatever. He's learning two Masechtas. I think I said it back then as well, that the Shiyorei Knesset HaGdolah writes that there's a minhag of some people not to learn Masechtas Bava Basra because that's where Rashi got sick. So Kolchkin, not the Makkos, where Rashi died. Yeah. I said yesterday, yesterday I was talking about by the Hebrew. I said that part of the Gemara is that you should rebuild the Mizbeach. I always say this, maybe because the new guys in Makkos. So the question is, what you think about it? What would happen? Like, Greenman just left America and he was just sitting here. But what would happen if somebody came over to you and said, by the way, you're a guy? It happens like my daughter's doing kira over there. A lot of people come in, I'm Jewish, and then she doesn't tell them. You're not supposed to tell them, but they find out they're not. She knows they're not Jewish. What do you say? My mother and this, my father's Jewish. So what if you thought your whole life you're a Jew because your father's Jewish, and somebody comes and tells you, what would you do? So Shimshon Pinkut says, I would be makriv a carbon on a bama in my backyard. And what do? I would then be my guy right away. I would learn Torah dur Chazos Hashatz. So then a guy, huh?
I would eat gebrach.
You would eat gebrach. Somebody else said. Somebody else said that. And then somebody said, I would learn Bava Basra. Because Rashi, okay, fine. No, what would anybody have a good one? You would eat gebrachs. And if you're Lubavitch, you would drink chol of stam. Yeah. Like that guy, no, because I saw this guy, I don't know if it was a joke or not a joke, he says he's getting married to this girl that used to be Lubavitch. He's not from, and the girl's not from. But one thing she's very makbid. She's makbid on chol of stam. And she comes into this house, she says, are you Meshuga? You have chol of stam in your refrigerator? He says, it's not a problem. She went out and she bought chol Yisrael on Shabbos. Tumas agud behed yiksiv. So that's the Gemara. Tumas agud behed yiksiv. What do you see? Making like a drasha, hutar, this. It says before in the pasuk about if a person is tummy when he eats ma'aser sheni. B'nefesh hashediga by b'tama ad ha'erev v'lo yoichal min ha'kachim. It says, Mefurish, v'toma there, v'lo yocham and akachim. So even tumas aguf is also tid ma'aser sheni. Elo tumas atzmai minayin. How do you know? No, what we want to know is how do you know if the fruit is tamei? That it's also tid Yerushalayim. D'chsiv leisuchal lechol b'sharecha. It says by ma'aser sheni you can't eat it in your gateways. V'la'alan ro'imer b'sharecha d'chleno by b'char it says you should eat it at tamei b'atar. B'tanyu d'beiri b'shmol. Shmuel says, okay, so in one place it says, do not eat ma'aser sheni. The other one says, you should eat a bechar. V'afilu, so says Shmuel, afilu tomei v'tar oichel mikara achas ve'in choshishim. We're talking about a bechar who's a balmum. So Rashi says, even though there's certain things, if a bechar is a balmum, yes, you're allowed to eat it, but you have to be makbid on it. You can't give it to the dogs. You can't eat a bechar who's alive and it's a balmum. You can't shear it. You can't shearing with a sherear. Yeah, shearing. Not depends where you're from. Shearing. Okay, fine. If you're from Chicago, okay. So Itl is the different halachas, but you're allowed to eat it with somebody else that's tamei, even though you're eating from the same bowl, and the guy that's tamei is going to make everything in the bowl tamei. That's not a problem. It's interesting limud. Just like over there, you're permitted to eat it betuma. In Ma'aseh the reverse. You're learning from there. In the situation that you're permitted by a bechar to eat it betuma, by Ma'aseh you're not allowed to. Oh, so I learned that you're not allowed to. That means the actual payers themselves are tamei. And how do you know? Look, Ma'aseh Sheni, yeah, the 10% that you give yourself, you're not allowed to redeem it in Yerushalayim. Where do you redeem it? You redeem it outside of Yerushalayim when it's too heavy for you to carry. So you go ahead and you do it. Once in Yerushalayim, you can't redeem it. And now we're saying that if it's tamei, the same Ma'aseh Sheni, it's tamei in Yerushalayim, you could redeem it. How do you know that? So the simple pshat we always learn means it's too what? Too heavy. You can't carry it. No, I'm going to learn something else. Because you can't eat it. If you can't eat it, you can redeem it in Yerushalayim. How do I know that it means seis means to redeem? By Yosef Atzadik, he used the loshon of masos. He gave them food. He gave them this one 5 portions. He gave food. Omer Rabbi Rabasi, so comes Rabasi, this is also a big chiddush. The whole. What does the pasuk say? That why do you redeem it? It's very far. So you can't carry. It's too heavy. But what if I'm one step outside of Yerushalayim? Big deal. So just go inside. You're ready there. No, you still could redeem it. How do I know? As long as you're carrying it, then you're permitted to redeem it and convert it into money. So I'm already using the pasuk to tell me that I could redeem it right outside of Yerushalayim. So how are you telling me that I'm learning from that it means food? It doesn't mean to carry. It means food, and that you're allowed to redeem it if it's tamei. Sorry. Yeah. No. So he says. That's the next question. How could you say that I'm learning kiloi suchas to teach me that if you're one step outside of Yerushalayim, I'm still allowed to redeem it? I need it for Rebbe Lezer that says the Ma'aseh Sheni that's tamei, you can be paid in Yerushalayim. Oh, why are you using a funny language of seisai? If you're talking about food, talk about food. Say la'achloi. My seisai. Ask the Gemara, maybe it's only coming to say this halacha of Ravasi that you're allowed to redeem it one step outside of Yerushalayim, and not the food. So the bottom line is this word seisai is nishtei. It doesn't. If you're trying to say that you're allowed to eat it, so use the word food. If you're trying to say you want to carry it, so use the word carry. Why are you using an interesting word that could go on both chasanas? Oh, because I want to use a word that actually teaches me both chasanas. Teaches me carrying and teaches me eat. That if it's tamei, I'm allowed to redeem it in Yerushalayim, and if it's heavy or you're carrying it, I'm allowed to redeem it one step outside of Yerushalayim. Just I thought it's mamish pas for MDY. Over here in MDY we also have a situation where eating and carrying go together. L'mashal, if you bring pizza to this place, you're not allowed to carry it outside. Zog the Gemara. No, I'm just thinking about that guy. That one guy who pulled a fast one on us. There was a lot of pizza, so he put a whole pie under his table, and after share, that's when I said, okay, enough. We're making a chayk. You bring food to this place, you're not taking it outside. You want to put it in the garbage? That's better. Better than schlepping it at home. What?
Put it in the garbage and take the garbage back out?
Oh, that you could do. Like I had a lady that did that by us in Midwest Conference Center in Chicago. Yeah, we were missing. Okay, we'll tell a different time. Basically, that's a trick, an old trick. And because of the trick, I learned they take stuff, they throw it into the garbage. Let's say there's something valuable, so they clean up, they put it in a garbage bag, and throw the garbage outside. And then after the wedding, they go to the garbage and they take it out. Yeah. Huh? The LA purse. That's how I learned one from the other. I don't remember which one. It was a limud after a limud, but it was divrei chulin, so it's mutter. Oh, b'chutz. Oh, Yosef Chanina Rabbi Shai v'kom boy lu apiska d'Yerushalayim mau. So I have a shayla. What happens if you're coming in? You know these trays. Anybody that went to in America, they don't have it, but here there's a minhag in Eretz Yisrael. What is this? This is the guys taking stuff out of empty wine. Yishmak. Yeah. And the camera moved also. Okay, we see everything, right? Let's see. So, if you ever go to one of these chasnas, so like the cheder or whatever, if you donate money, they'll send this giant tray of fruit that costs like 100 shekel, and then there's a sign above it that costs 2,000 shekel. It's massive. It says, this and this, Moisad gave this fruit tray to this chassan and gala. It's a giant roll-up. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Okay, so, that's the Shiloh. That's mamish the Shiloh over here. They had in the time of the Gemara also. Hu b'chutz masay b'fnim kol tu mechitzos. Here we have this. Here we go. Schlepping the thing. I told him the idea to put the roll up. He didn't do the roll, but he wrote loy rebelli because I said not to put my name. Great. So whatever is inside the mechitza of Yerushalayim is already considered what? Meiser Sheni. That's pashut. Once it goes in, and. But the question is, hu b'fnim u'masoi b'chutz mau, something like this. He's inside and the tray is outside. What? What's that halacha? So again, a lot of Rishonim say that when it says in the Gemara usaba, it means Eliyahu Navi. Tosfos and Chulin Daf Amud Beis says that it can't be because there's a story with Usaba and Rav Shimon bar Yochai pulverized them. Is that the word? He poofed, so it can't be that he did that to Eliyahu Navi. So therefore, but the Chidah says that maybe in that case not, in other places it is. Okay, so this could be Eliyahu Navi according to some Rishonim. It means your whole fullness, everything that's attached to you, your clothing, a tray, it's all. So Memela, if you're inside and whatever you're schlepping is outside, it's all considered. It's all inside. By Rav Papa. Oh, and here's the Shaila. What if it's on a what? Yeah, a trailer. Oh, and this is where I went off on Avremi. I was hoping he wouldn't watch the shir. He did, because Avremi bought all these speakers for MDY, and because we go to different places. So then he comes over and he says, "Listen, we bought all these speakers. We need a trailer also." And he's serious. I'm like, and where are you going to park the trailer? You want to buy an apartment now so you can have a parking, like, Eiland over Saif. Come on. Yeah. Fine. Omer Vasi, Omer B'Yochanan. Meiser Sheni me Mosach Hayav Malav. This is a tremendous chiddush, Rabbi say, because up until this point, Meiser Sheni, when you eat, teiku, not going to be kind, you might teiku. Yeah. Omer Vasi, Omer B'Yochanan. So we don't have an answer to that question. Says Rabbi Yochanan. We know that if you eat Meiser Sheni outside Yerushalayim, you get Malkus. Comes Rabbi Yochanan with a massive chiddush. Meiser Sheni me Mosach Hayav Malav. When are you chayiv if you eat it outside Yerushalayim? Mishra b'nei chayma. If it went into Yerushalayim, so if it went into Yerushalayim, how do you chayiv? Because you went out of Yerushalayim. So first it has to go in and then it comes out. So all these things, we're thinking, you're driving up to Yerushalayim and you have this whole bag of stuff that you want to bring to the Beis Hamikdash, and you get really hungry, you're stuck in traffic, and you go like this, you start eating, you chayiv malchus. No. It's only if you went into Yerushalayim and came out, then you chayiv. Techleno is like a positive, and it's a say. You should eat it. It's a loisasei lechol b'sharecha. Wherever you have that say that you could eat it, where could you eat it? Inside Yerushalayim. It's in the same place, but it can't be in Yerushalayim. So it means you went in, then the clock starts ticking, and once you go out, you're chayiv. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.